Hi, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use Paula's Choice Advanced Smoothing Treatment, which is a 10% AHA exfoliant. And at first I want to go over some general information so that you have a better understanding how it can help you to improve your skin concerns, for whom it is suitable and when you should use it. Then I want to move on to a frequency guide so that you have an idea of how often you can use it throughout the week and how you can adjust the frequency over time. And then I want to go over some example skincare routines as well as what you should avoid when working with an exfoliant in general, so that you can lower the risk of experiencing irritation, yet at the same time I'm making sure that it's working well for your skin needs. And then lastly, I want to show you the entire application on my face. So we are working with a 10% AHA exfoliant, which is, by the way, a leave-on exfoliant, which means that when you are going to apply it, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And AHAs overall are a bit more suitable for normal to dry skin because they can help to increase hydration within the skin, and they're working on the skin surface. So when it comes to AHAs, it stands for alpha hydroxy acids. And under this specific category, there are multiple AHAs ingredients. And in this case, we're working with a nice blend. So they're using lactic acid, glycolic acid, malic acid, and tartaric acid. And so they help to loosen the dead skin cells on the skin surface to reveal the new skin underneath, which looks more hydrated, smoother. It can help you to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, as well as surface hyperpigmentation over time. So overall, it can help you to give you a bit more of a radiant looking and healthy and more even looking skin when including Paula's Choice 10% AHA exfoliant in your skincare routine. However, it also contains 0.5% of BHA, which is salicylic acid, which has anti-inflammatory properties. It can help you to unclog the pores. It goes a bit deeper than AHA and at the same time helps to regulate oiliness. Now, overall, this exfoliant is recommended for normal to dry skin. However, I would argue that based on how gentle it is and how it feels on the skin, it's a very lightweight, hydrating exfoliant. It can be used on all skin types. However, I recommend being careful if you have extremely sensitive skin or compromised skin, because when working with exfoliating acids, that can easily lead to stinging or burning when applying it. And so when using that one in your skincare routine, it can be used in the morning and or evening. Now, generally speaking, when working with exfoliating acids, it is recommended to use them in the evening only because it can make the skin sensitive to the sun. Now, not the exfoliating acids themselves do not make the skin sensitive to the sun, but based on how it works. Since you're going to remove the dead skin cells from the skin surface, the new skin underneath will be revealed, and that one isn't able to protect itself that well. Therefore, it is important to always work with sun protection during daytime. Doesn't matter if you're using your exfoliant in the morning and or evening, but when using it in the evening, you do not need to bother with the sunscreen application. So this is where you have to keep certain points in mind depending on when you're using it. This now brings me immediately to a frequency guide. Now, overall, how often you can use an exfoliant throughout the week depends mainly on your overall skin concerns. The more dead skin cells you have on the skin surface, the more often you can probably use it without experiencing irritation. However, this is age-related as well as your overall skin concerns and your overall skin type. Usually, if you have a drier skin type, if you are getting a bit older over time, you are more prone to having more dead skin cells on the skin surface, and therefore you can probably use it more often than someone that has like an oilier skin type, or at the same time a bit more of like still a younger skin, where the exfoliation, like the natural exfoliation part of the skin by loosening the dead skin cells on its own, is still intact, and you just want to give it a bit of help. That's fine too. But overall, if the natural loosening dead skin cells process slows down as we age, this is where you probably need to add an exfoliant to your skincare routine to give it a bit of help so that it's able to loosen it, because it cannot do it on its own anymore. And this is where you can use it more often. So it is not only age related, but at the same time your overall skin needs. And so, as a general guide, to keep it as simple as possible, as well as making sure that it's working well for everyone who is now watching this video and maybe trying this serum at home, like exfoliant at home, Start off by using it 2 to 3 times per week. Again, if you're using it only once per day in your skincare routine, my best advice would be use it in the evening to keep it as simple as possible. And so then you would use it, for example, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So in this case, you have at least 1 or 2 days in between so that your skin is able to like get back to normal again before exfoliating again, so that you can figure out what frequency is going to work the best for you. Now, if you have, like, let's say you are going to start off by using it 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do this frequency for at least a month so that you can see how this goes. If you feel like that frequency works really well for me, I'm going to keep on going with it, go ahead and keep on going with it. However, if you now say, well, I want to use it more often because I feel like I do need to use it more often, whatever your age or your skin concerns may be, you can go ahead and do so. The next step would be using it every other day, once per day. After that stage, once you have tried out that frequency for some time and you still feel the need to use it more often, you can use it once per day daily, or up to twice per day daily. Now, when it comes to using it twice per day daily, I really recommend taking your time before getting to that point if you still should feel the need. However, most commonly, you need to adjust the frequency like any way over time. So let's say you're being older, you have more dead skin cells on the skin surface that needs to be removed. So you can't say, well, 2 to 3 times per week did not much for me, I can easily use it once per day daily. Then this frequency may work really well for you for some time, and that's great. If it's working well for you, keep on going with it. However, over time, once your skin cells are able to loosen like more often or easier due to the exfoliant that you're including in your skincare routine, you may come across a point in time, maybe not right away, it may be more common if you have still like a younger skin, like I'm 26, so I do not need to exfoliate my skin daily because that's not necessary. My skin is still able to exfoliate itself. But so in that specific case, using it less often is something that I would recommend. But if you're using it daily for quite some time and all of a sudden you come across sensitivity such as stinging, burning or even redness, then this may be the point where you need to give your skin at first a break, because you have been using it quite often in the past, and then start off slowly again. Use it less often because your skin does not have that many dead skin cells on the skin surface anymore, and therefore you do not need to use the exfoliant that often. And so therefore, again, it's not only about how you can get started in the beginning on how often you can use the exfoliant, but it's during time as well, because sensitivity can all of a sudden occur, which may not have like a specific reason other than that your skin does not need it that often anymore. And so therefore you need to adjust it accordingly. And again, please, if you think of using it in the morning instead of evening, you really have to keep an eye on your sunscreen application to do it evenly, because otherwise you will end up with a sunburn quite quickly. So this now brings me to the next part, which is the example skincare routines and what you should avoid. So when it comes to the example skincare routines, you can use this exfoliant on its own. You can keep it very simple. However, if you like to use it along with other skincare products which you may have at home, that's fine too. Adjust it accordingly to your needs. But what you have to keep in mind is making sure that the skincare routine that you're setting up is working well for your skin type. So if you have a drier skin type, look for products that are really hydrating, as well as including the exfoliant, so that it's working well, includes a nice balance. If you have an oilier skin type, then of course look for products that are more suitable for an oilier skin type, so that you can adjust it accordingly and get most out of it. Now I'm going to give you a main morning and evening skincare routine example so that you can see the entire order of application, but you can keep it simple as well. So if you now say, well, I want to use it in my morning skincare routine, then you're going to get started with the first step, which is washing your face with a gentle and suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs. Make sure that those are not exfoliating acid cleansers, so keep this in mind. Use a gentle one. If you have dry skin, use one for dry skin. If you have oily skin, use one for oily skin. Then once you have washed your face with your cleanser, rinse it off, pat the skin dry. If you now say, well, I have an hydrating and soothing toner at home, you want to include it, go ahead and do so. It would be the next step after your cleansing step. Apply your toner to the skin and then leave it on the skin. And then after that, you would move on to the application of your exfoliant. Apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then if you should have any other serums and or treatments at home, then those would be now the next step. And then lastly, follow with either moisturizer that already contains SPF or regular sunscreen. Of course, again, make sure that you're going to adjust it accordingly to your skin type and needs. But in that specific case, sun protection during daytime is key. So the toner step as well as your serums or treatment step, those are optional. You can also just use your cleanser, the exfoliant and sun protection, that's fine too as well. Then when it comes to an evening skincare routine, so if you now say, well, I want to use it in the evenings instead, then it's going to be very similar if you want to include an hydrating and soothing toner and other treatments to your routine as well, just without the sunscreen. So again, you would start off by washing your face using a gentle cleanser for your skin type and needs. You may want to do a double cleanse in case you're wearing sunscreen and or makeup to make sure that everything comes off. Use an oil cleanser or balm cleanser at first and then move on to your regular gentle cleanser. Rinse it off, pat the skin dry, move on to your hydrating and soothing toner if you have one as the next step, then follow with your exfoliant, then move on to your serums and or treatments, and then your moisturizer if you should feel the need. Now you do not necessarily have to use a moisturizer in the evening, only if you should come across dryness or you have a drier skin type already, then you can include it. Make sure that it's working well for your skin type and needs overall. So this can be a rich one or a lightweight one. And so this would be an example of a morning and or evening skincare routine when using an exfoliant. But again, if you can, I recommend using an exfoliating acid only in your evening skincare routine. Now this would be it so that you can see the setup. However, I now want to go over what you should avoid since we're working with an exfoliating acid, which if you're using it too often or too quickly, or you're going to ignore some sensitivity signs, then it can become quite uncomfortable already by using it on its own. However, if you are going to combine it with certain skincare products, this won't make it any better because sensitivity is more likely to occur, and one of them does actually conflict. So I want to get started with the conflict, since I do know that some of you do enjoy the ordinary products as well. So if you have one of the ordinary peptides or multiple ones of them at home, please avoid using Paula's Choice 10% AHA exfoliant in the same routine when working with one of the ordinary peptide serum. Please keep them separate. Use your peptide, for example, in the morning, your exfoliant in the evening. So just use them in separate routines. This is like the major conflict which can actually happen, where you're going to like loosen or reduce the efficacy of one of them. Then when it comes to actual combinations which can become quite strong when using them in the same routine, then I recommend keeping an eye on them. And this would be first of all retinoids and overall, like retinols, gram-active retinoids or retinoids overall. Please do not use them in the same routine. I recommend either just use one of them, just use your retinol or retinoid or an exfoliant, because based on how they loosen the dead skin cells, it's kind of like the same thing, since they help to exfoliate the skin to let go of the dead skin cells on the skin surface. So in that specific case, if you have an exfoliant, you may not necessarily feel the need of using a retinol or retinoid, and vice versa. So therefore, if you're thinking of adding it, I really would go through it in your own time. Take your time and see, well, how effective is is my retinol or retinoid, and how effective is my exfoliant when I'm just using it on its own. So can I benefit from just one of them? However, if you now say, well, I want to use both, then keep them separate. My best advice would be using them in the evening only. So retinol or retinoids should be used in the evening anyway. So then keep on coming up with 2 p.m. routines. So use, for example, your exfoliant on Monday, your retinol or retinoid on Tuesday, then your exfoliant again on Wednesday, etc. So that you're going to alternate between them. But you need to adjust the frequency of both products, because when using them too often, and depending on your skin tolerance as well as what your skin actually needs, it still can lead to irritation. So I recommend starting off at first for at least a month with one of them before adding the other one, so that you can see how your skin is going to react to one product of them, like specifically, before adding anything else. So there you would have an idea of how you can do it if you're working with the retinol or retinoid product as well. When it comes to strong vitamin C serums or products or creams overall, I'm talking about more than 20% of ascorbic acid. then please keep them separate as well, since the combination can be quite strong and lead to, easily leads to stinging or burning or even redness quite quickly. It may not happen when doing this once, but the more often you're going to do it, the more you can come across sensitivity, so therefore I recommend avoiding it. You can still use them in the on the same day, or even use them alternate evenings. And then the last one is basically exfoliating acids. And I'm talking about exfoliating acid cleansers, I'm talking about other leave-on exfoliating acid products, or even exfoliating acid masks. So if you have another exfoliating liquid, tonic, serum, mask or cleanser at home, please do not use them in the same routine. Keep them separate and adjust the frequency accordingly. Because the more exfoliating acids you're going to use in the same routine or throughout this, the same week, and your skin cannot handle it because it may not need it, you're just going to attack the newer skin cells, and therefore again it can lead to sensitivity. So please keep this in mind. And so those are mainly the points that I want to emphasize when setting up a skincare routine and working with an exfoliating acid. Start off slowly, give your skin time to adjust to one new product at a time, so that if something should happen, you know exactly what may be causing it, because you have been using other products in the past as well without any issues. So this is one point that I do want to emphasize as well. Now again, if you want to find the example of skincare routines helpful, you can download them in the description box down below. But for now, I really want to keep my focus on the entire application. I have some example products right here, which are also suitable for normal to dry skin, but again, feel free to adjust it accordingly. So we're going to get started with the first step, which is washing the face with a gentle cleanser. I have Paula's Choice Softening Cream Cleanser right here, which is great for dry skin. And if you have a different cleanser at home, go ahead and exchange it. Just make sure that you're going to read on the back of the packaging on how you should use your cleanser. Do you have to apply it on dry skin, on wet skin, and how do you need to remove it? Since this can change, especially when it comes to cleansers that are a bit more suitable for a drier skin type. And so in this case, I need to apply it on wet skin. Another point that I do want to emphasize is please read if you can use it around the eyes or if you should avoid the eye area. I recommend following that specific guide. So the first step that I'm now going to do is now wetting my face and neck with lukewarm water to warm water, and then I'm going to apply the cleanser onto wet skin. If your cleanser has to be applied on dry skin, then there's no need to wet your face at first. Just immediately use about 1 to 2 pumps, so about a coin size amount of your cleanser, and apply it onto dry skin. So let's go ahead and do this. So about that much more or less of your cleanser in the palm of your hands. Rub your hands together and gently massage it all over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. So, and once you have massaged the cleanser all over your face and neck, you now can go ahead and rinse it off with lukewarm water to warm water. Now you can do this by just using your hands. However, if you should have troubles removing it properly from the skin, you can use a soft and fresh washcloth in between, which are going to wet. And this can help you to remove the cleanser a bit better. So now go ahead and take a fresh towel and pat the skin dry. So once you have pat the skin dry, you can immediately move on to the next step, which can already be the application of Paula's Choice 10% AHA Exfoliant. However, if you do have a toner at home that you want to include, go ahead and do so. And this would be then the next step after your cleansing step, but use it before applying your exfoliant. Now, when it comes to toners, please make sure that you're only using hydrating and soothing toners. Please avoid using exfoliating acid toners or overall products in the same routine when already using Paula's Choice Exfoliant. exfoliant. So please avoid using tonics, solutions, liquids where it says BHA, which is salicylic acid or even salicylic acid, where it says AHA, such as glycolic, lactic or mandelic acid, or even PHA. Please avoid those products. Those are all exfoliating acids. Now I'm not talking about if you take your hydrating and soothing toner and the last ingredient of your ingredients list, it says salicylic acid or citric acid or lactic acid. Those are the common ones that can be found at the very bottom. Then there's no reason for concern. This is just to balance the pH of the product. But I'm talking about if it does mention it right here on the front, like on the top row of your ingredients list, or even if it mentions it on the top of the packaging or gives you like a certain percentage of it. Please avoid using other exfoliating acid products in the same routine when using Paula's Choice. So just use an hydrating and soothing toner. And so when using one, make sure that it's working well for your skin type and needs. I have one example right here, which is Paula's Choice Enriched Calming Toner, which is great for dry skin. However, I do believe that it's great for all skin types because it's so lightweight. But when working with a toner, it has an opening like this, and it is a very liquidish texture, so a very lightweight texture, and you're planning on using it in the palm of your hand and then apply it to the skin. This spans about 5 to 8 drops in the palm of your hand, and then rub your hands together and do the application. However, if you have a toner tongue that has a thicker texture, a bit more like a serum-like texture, then use between about 3 to 4 drops. You need to reduce the amount of it because you have more texture of the actual product, which you can more easily blend all over, so that it's not going to absorb that quickly into the skin, so you have more time to blend. Therefore you need to use less product. And what you also can do is applying it with a cotton pad. So when using it on a cotton pad, you do not need to soak up the entire cotton pad, because you're first of all going to waste a lot of product. Second of all, you're going to end up with too much product on the skin, so that's not needed. Use about a coin size amount. You need to use more on the cotton pad as if you would apply it in the palm of your hand, that for sure, but use about a coin size amount, about that much more or less. You can see I haven't soaked up the entire cotton pad. And then use that amount and gently swipe it across your face and neck. Once you have applied your toner, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. When doing the application, and based on how it should feel on the skin, your skin should feel slightly damp, so that you can feel that you were able to blend it all over where you want to, and at the same time it should be able to fully absorb into the skin. It shouldn't sit on top of the skin surface. So if you feel like your skin is more wet than damp, then you have probably used too much, and I recommend reducing the amount, which can sometimes lead to problems when layering multiple skincare products after one another. So therefore I always recommend using enough so that you can blend it all over, but at the same time that the skin is able to absorb it, so that you can already avoid an uncomfortable feeling or even pilling, which sometimes can happen. And so again, once you're done with your toning step, you have applied it, you're going to leave it on the skin, you can immediately move on to the next step, which is applying Paula's Choice 10% AHA. This is an exfoliant that you're going to leave on the skin. It comes with a dropper, so I recommend using between 3 to 4 drops as a general guide. If you have a larger face or you want to blend it further down, you can add a couple of drops more. However, I recommend not overdoing it. You should be able to blend it all over, should be able to absorb into the skin, and it shouldn't sit on top of the skin surface, nor should your skin feel completely wet. Because if you're using too much of an exfoliant, in that specific case it often can lead to irritation, because the product is still sitting on top of the skin surface and your skin does not need that much product. So therefore you need to adjust it accordingly. And so when applying it, make sure that you're going to apply it evenly, but be careful on sensitive areas. So please do not use it on top of your eyelids. Please do not use it too close to the actual lower lash line, where you can feel that the skin has become thinner. So this is where the sensitivity can easily occur. So keep an eye on this part right here. Avoid it. You can use it about the eye contour right here. If you can tolerate it, that's for sure, go ahead and do so. But be careful on the eye corner, the corners of your lips, and maybe also the corners of your nose. This is where sometimes sensitivity can occur or dryness can occur quite quickly. And therefore I'm mentioning it because I want to make sure that you have a pleasant experience when using it. So I'm going to use about 4 drops in the palm of my hand. Just used 4 drops. Which is about that much. Rub your hands together and then gently blend it all over. You can also dispense the product, like the drops, immediately onto your face if that's easier for you, and then start blending. That's fine too. So, and once you have applied it all over your face and neck, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. This is a leave-on exfoliant. Now again, depending on your skin type and needs, and if this is going to be your evening skincare routine, you can stop right here. You can use a toner in between if you like to, but it's fine to just cleanse your face, use the exfoliant, and that's it. However, when doing this during daytime, please don't forget to follow with sun protection afterwards. But if you now say, well, I want to include other serums that I have at home as well as a moisturizer, then go ahead and do so. So the next step after you have applied your exfoliant would be serums and treatments. Now, when it comes to serums, again, keep in mind what I told you earlier, what you should avoid due to the risk of experiencing irritation. But if you have other serums at home, then you can feel free and add them to your skincare routine. So I have a few examples right here, such as Paula's Choice Niacinamide Booster, Vitamin C Booster, or Azelaic Acid Booster. Those are just some examples. Of course, make sure that you're always choosing the serums and treatments accordingly to your needs. But when applying a serum, it comes with a dropper, and it has a very thin texture. I use again between 5 to 7 drops, 8-ish drops, so that you can evenly apply it all over your face and neck. If your serum has a thicker texture, use between 3 to 4 drops. If your serum has a pump, use between 1 to 2 pumps. Or if you have a treatment that's like a cream-like texture or gel, use about a pea-size amount and then apply it evenly over your face and neck. And then once you have done the application, leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. But please make sure to always read on the back of the packaging of your serums and your treatments if you can use it around the eyes or if you should avoid it, so that you're getting most out of it and you're not going to irritate the skin. Once you have done the application of your serums and your treatments, you then can follow on to your moisturizer if you should feel the need. Of course, if you want to leave out the serums and treatments, then the next step would be immediately your moisturizer after your exfoliant. And so when it comes to a moisturizer, use one that's suitable for your skin type. This can be a richer one, this can be a lightweight one, a fluid, a gel, a lotion. So make sure that it's really working well and feels comfortable when applying it. I have one example right here, which is Paula's Choice Omega Plus Complex Moisturizer. It does mention it's great for normal to dry skin. However, I do feel like that one is great for all skin types. And so when using a moisturizer with a pump, use between 1 to 2 pumps. If you have a moisturizer in a jar, dip your finger into it so that you have about like a coin size, not a coin size amount, but a pea-size amount on your finger to apply it evenly all over, so that you have an overall general guide in mind on how much you should use. If you have a drier skin type, use a bit more if you should feel the need. So about that much, more or less. And then apply your moisturizer on top of your exfoliant and or serums that you have already applied previously. And gently massage it and blend it all over your face as well as neck. So, and if you are using a moisturizer, then this is going to be the last step in your evening skincare routine. Again, in the evening there's no sun protection needed. But then when waking up the next morning, you are either doing your usual skincare routine, or instead of using your exfoliant in the evening and you're planning on using it during daytime, please do not forget to follow with sun protection. This is really important. Otherwise you can end up with a sunburn very quickly. And so if you want to know how you can properly apply a moisturizer that already contains SPF or regular sunscreen, I have a video for you in the top right corner which you can check out to have an overall general guide on how you can properly use one, so that you can protect the skin when working with exfoliating acids in general. Now, this is what I wanted to share with you. This is an example of an evening skincare routine. I do hope that you enjoyed it, that you find it helpful. And if you now want to know more about skincare products and the application, I have several videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to link some of them at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!